I often have that mantra in my head, go, okay, just one more, get it, just one more, get it, just one more, and get that extra rep. But keep working till you feel the involuntary rep speed start to slow, and try and grind out 1 or 2 more reps on your own or with your training partner, just assisting the resistance profile.
Hey, Soul Bells TV, we are taking the pecs past failure today. Any resistance training machine that imitates the movement of a bench press motion will work just fine, but your best bet is definitely going to be the hoist chest press machine. So you're going to get 10 strict reps with perfect form, then you're going to push past failure and force out 5 more forced reps. And instead of teaching this one to you myself, I decided to take the opportunity to pull the UK hoist sales manager after our recent podcast recording on Carnivore Coaches Corner. He is actually 3 weeks out from his next competition, so be sure to follow my good friend Rob and listen to session number 62 of our podcast so that you can hear all about what it takes to become an IFBB professional bodybuilder while you're pumping those pecs. He's going to walk you through how to do it, and my client Ledoir from Brazil and I are going to show you how to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, IFBB Pro, Rob Thurston.
I think there's a couple of key things on there. One is making sure your seat height adjustment is correct, so that the alignment where your elbow position, the bar position is going to come to is really important. So you don't want your shoulders to be elevated up here, your elbow right up high, which is going to cause an impingement of shoulder. You want to have that slight elbow tuck, so your elbow is going to be a little bit below shoulder height at the start of the movement. The next thing is you want your forearm aligned with the direction of force. So I don't want to be scooping, doing this kind of thing with my elbow. If I'm pushing in this direction, my forearm should be in straight line with the line of force of the machine. So if I was looking side on, my elbow is slightly tucked down. I've set the seat height to get that correct. And as I'm pushing my forearm directly in line. I'm not doing this or doing this. So that's getting this.
So you're making sure your shoulders are always in a safe position.
Yeah. So the other thing really important on chest work, I don't want to be protracting, doing this as I'm doing chest work. I want my sternum lifted and my scapula, my shoulder blades pulled together. So I elevate my chest and keep it elevated throughout. This lifted, not protracting my shoulders. I don't want my anterior delts kicking into the movement. I want to keep those out of it by retracting my shoulder blades, lifting my sternum and keeping it there throughout the reps, especially in those hard reps at the end, not shoving and not stay where you start, right? So I set up my position. As I get into the hard reps at the end of the set, don't wiggle and jiggle and take force off your chest. Keep it there because I want all that load on my chest for those hard reps. Keep it there as you force through that. Doing that to make the rep for the logbook just took the stress away from my chest. So stay where you start, hold that position. Sit proud, chest high, shoulder blades retracted, elbows aligned with the line of force. There's one other key thing on there, which is called intent. You'll hear people like Ben Bukowski and Joe Bennett, hypertrophy coach, talk about this. And that's what you're thinking about during that movement that helps engage and working muscle. And a good cue for your chest work, instead of me thinking about pushing the handles forward, I'm thinking about my bicep smashing into the side of my chest, trying to push. If you do that now, you'll feel it. If you put your fingers on your pec and imagine pushing your bicep in towards your pec, smashing your bicep against your pec, you'll get such a strong contraction in that muscle group. So instead of me thinking pushing the weight from A to B, push my bicep towards my pec as I push forward, that pec contraction is now doing 80% of the work. I've just got a little bit of tricep and anterior delta assisting. What I don't want is 80% shoulders and triceps and my pec just doing 20%. I end up with poor chest development doing that. So elbow alignment, chest elevated, push the bicep towards the pec so I get that contraction in the end.
One more thing that we should keep in mind about this machine, if you could just think of one more thing to get the most out of it.
Avoid resting in the lockout position. So when I get to here, I don't want to have my joints stacked and resting. I've got no load on my chest at this point. You want to have a smooth turnaround at the top of the rep. So I get to the top of my rep and I start back into my eccentric. If I do want to pause, the place I can put a pause is in the stretch position for half beat. I back out, but what I don't want is unload it, locked elbow position, unload it. You see people do this on dumbbell presses a lot, right? They'll come halfway down and then out and lock out.
Yeah.
Halfway down and lock out. Such a minimal amount of chest work. They'd have been better doing the bottom half of the rep, coming all the way here to active range of movement, not locking the top, all the way down, little pause in the stretch, not locking the top. Now I've got stress on my chest continuously for that 40 seconds or so, this time under load that I want. So don't lock out and rest in the stacked position, the joint stack position. Keep that tension on your pecs throughout the whole set, so that every rep, if you think that thought process in the set, right, those last couple of hard reps that are nearly impossible to do, when they slow down, you've really got to grind them. That high muscular tension is the trigger for muscle growth. So if I'm trying to get to my light switch, right, which is the trigger for muscle growth, and I do rep 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, don't quite get there, right? I didn't do the rep. I've got to get there and do reps 9 and 10, and that last hard rep to flick the switch and cause enough muscular tension as a stimulus for hypertrophy. If I stop 3 reps short of that, or if I rest, if every time I do a rep and then I rest and lock out, I'm just doing this each time, I'm not progressing further and further into that deeper level of muscular tension. I want to build that more, recruit more and more and more muscle fibers until they're all recruited with maximal tension at the end of the set. So resting in the lockout, whether it's a leg press, a squat, a shoulder press, a chest press, whatever, don't rest in that lockout position. Keep that tension on the muscle throughout the set. So otherwise, let's say I do a super fast rep, I go down in one, up in one, and invest in that lockout, and I do 10 reps. I've done 20 seconds of time under load, but I've recovered partly in the rest position each. Now, if I lower in 3 seconds and lift in about 2 seconds, let's say my rep takes 4 or 5 seconds, and it's continuous tension, and I do 10 reps. Now I've done 40 to 50 seconds of time under load, under a heavy load, compared to 20 seconds that I did with my 1 up, 1 down resting in lockout. So put that muscle under tension, under the heavy load, and keep it under heavy load continuously throughout that set, rather than the series of, we're not powerlifting, we're not getting the weight from A to B. We want to fatigue that muscle more and more. So every rep for the set. And the point, if you think about training to failure, the point where you want to get to is you'll feel the rep speed involuntarily start to slow when you get to the productive reps. So you'll be doing this: set, stretch, squeeze. Let's say I get to number 7, and then this will happen. Oh, the rep speed will slow, even though you're trying to move it that fast. And then you'll go another one, and that last impossibly slow rep, they're the 2 that you want to get to. So keep going. Don't go, oh, I've done 10 reps, I've got 11 reps, whatever. Go till, if you get the good repping, good technique, do 1 more. I often have that mantra in my head, go, okay, just 1 more, I get it, just 1 more, get it, just 1 more, and get that extra rep. But keep working till you feel the involuntary rep speed start to slow, and try and grind out 1 or 2 more reps on your own or with your training partner, just assisting the resistance profile.
When you hit that point of complete failure, is that when you hit that oh shit lever with your foot?
Yeah.
Then you can get those extra 3 to 5 reps out?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, you want to do it on exercise where you're safe and with a training partner. So if I'm doing a squat and I'm doing it on my own and not with a training partner, then you maybe have to, do that 1 hard grinding rep, but not go for the next one. Are you in the rack? Have you got the safety bars in there at the bottom end and all that stuff? If you're in a leg press, has it got a safety lock so you're not going to get buried on that last rep? Or have you got a training partner who's sufficiently skilled to be able to get you through that safely? So you need to find which is why, using a hoist machine, a Smith machine, or whatever, even a dumbbell can be super effective way to do it. You do want to be careful on machines and barbells that you can get buried underneath, and you can hurt yourself if you get trapped grinding that last rep. So, and also that grinder rep needs to be one that's in perfect form. If you start rounding your back on the deadlift, you start hitching your shoulder on the bench press or the chest press, that's where you're going to tear something. Keep the form, stay where you start.